Bryon Powell of iRunFar here with Adam Campbell of Canada and Team Solomon. How are you doing today, Adam?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah.
All right, you ran and finished second at the CCC.
Yeah.
The was it Courmayeur,
Chamonix. Yeah.
A little slow this morning mentally myself.
Yeah.
So, How long did it take you?
It was 10:29 and change.
And it's just about 100K. How far over? Is it?
Well, they changed the routing a little bit due to there was some sort of a rock fall at the start. So I'm not sure what the race is supposed to be 98K.
Okay.
I don't know what it actually worked out to. I wasn't running GPS.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was good. It was a spectacular race. I mean, you still run through Italy, Switzerland, and France. So you get that incredible experience of. I mean, some places in Canada you have to drive an hour or 100K just to see your neighbor. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you're going through 3 different countries. It's very unique that way. Very European that way. People, the entire route you run through everything from mountaintops, along a highway, through people's backyards, through villages, through towns, and you finish in essentially a city in Chamonix. It's like a little mini tour of Europe in 10 hours. It was pretty spectacular that way.
Cool. So how did the race actually play out for you? You finished seconds, but like what kind of spots were you in through the day?
I started out. There's always a couple of fast starters. I've sort of learned. I've started fast at a few races, and maybe getting a bit wiser per race. So I started a little bit more conservative and let the faster guys go. Sort of put my ego in check for a bit. And I was lucky. I looked at the results before from previous years, and I had an idea of who was going to be competitive. And I heard a couple of the names of the starters at the start line as people were cheering for them. So I sort of keyed off them because. It's one of the unique things about racing in new countries is you don't really know who's who. So I sort of tacked on to the lead group. There's maybe 5 of us there, and it felt pretty comfortable, and it just slowly whittled away to 4th, and 3rd, and then 2nd. And I ran the front runner broke away at the top of the 2nd major climb of the day, and the gap stayed about 2 minutes for quite a while, and when he left us, it sounded like he was working really hard. So in the back of your mind, I thought he might burn himself up a little bit, and I could see him occasionally, and then I slowly started to get, I was getting feedback from people along the course. The gap was then 3 minutes for a bit, and it held there, and 4, and then once it got beyond 10 minutes. I figured he would have to have him. I couldn't really chase him at that point. He
had to come back to you.
He had to come back to me, yeah. And the gap just kept getting bigger and bigger. So I'd never run longer than 6 hours in my life. So once we got to the 6-hour mark, it was a huge unknown, and I really didn't know how I was going to respond. So I wouldn't say I was cautious, but I was definitely cognizant of the fact that I'd never run beyond that point. So
what did you learn after 6 hours?
It hurts. No, a few things I learned at this race. I mean, some of the steep parts. I mean, you're having to hike a lot. You're having to walk a lot of sections. Hike, run. A lot of internal dialogue, just trying to find little positives. The beauty about this course is there's so many spectators out there, little kids cheering you on, to adults, and I think that helps a little bit. And you're not allowed pacers here, but you have that aspect of it. And the crowds are definitely a huge boost, as you know.
Yeah, totally.
Yourself, yeah.
It was amazing to see all those people out there. It's fun trying to figure out what language I should say.
Merci,
grazie, thank you.
That was incredible too. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you'll have an American accent. You're just like, whoa, hey, cool. Yeah.
I come into hear somebody ahead of me getting cheered on in English. I'm like, yay! I can speak your language.
But it's funny. I mean, the funny thing about the different languages too is it sort of gave me. I wasn't sure when I'd crossed over into France, so I was trying to listen to different accents. I'm like, I think I'm in France now. That's kind of cool. Must be getting closer to home.
Yeah. So do you have any real rough spots on that? I mean, it seems like you're pretty consistent, but
I definitely had a few rough spots coming out of Martigny. It was a huge long climb. It wasn't particularly pretty through there. I didn't find. You run through a town and then up through some vineyards. I mean, it was very spectacular.
In comparison
In
to
comparison
the rest
of the course, yeah. I mean, you worked Sarrietta Glacier or something, and it was very hot in there because we dropped down really far and it was very exposed. So I had a bit of a rough patch through there, and also there weren't as many. There definitely the crowds were much thinner down through there. So I found that part particularly hard, but I was getting splits of people behind me were losing time, and the guy in front of me he was gaining a couple of minutes, so it was a rough patch, but I just sort of talked my way through it, and
you sort of could see that you weren't actually faltering. You were just
I was just having it was just hard.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been running for 7 hours. It's supposed to feel hard. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So you got through that 7-hour mark and the 8 and the 9 and the 10. I think we'll see you at some other. The longest race you said it was been the Canadian 50-mile Trail Championships. In under 5 or under 6 hours.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll be hitting these longer distances or?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That was always the goal. My goal actually this year was supposed to race Mount Fuji.
Oh,
100 miler early in the year got canceled. That may have been a blessing in disguise. I think doing my first 100 miler in Japan would have been the ultimate culture shock.
Well, going from a sub 6 hour run to a Japanese 100 miler.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a place I know that they really respect racing, just like they do here as well.
Yeah.
And so it's a culture I really want to go and explore in racing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and the other neat thing about being here, I want to mention. I mean, I had to spend the week learning from Jeff Rose, Scott Jurek, Dakota Jones, Killian, Darcy, everybody like that. I've been able to, and Ryan Sands as well.
Yeah.
You were in I was in the hub of this culture. I don't think I was asking as many questions as possible, trying to learn, soak in as much of that knowledge. Yeah,
totally.
I mean, there are some pretty serious.
It's like a world summit of ultra running.
It is. I mean, on Monday I got to run with Nick Clark and Joe Grant, and these are I've followed their blogs every day, and so I had a total groupie. So it's fun that way.
Yeah, you had to be a fan as well as second place at CCC.
Oh, exactly. No, I'm a huge fan, and respect all their experience and their results, and being able to learn and spend the week with them was very inspiring, and it's also. It's humbling. I mean, when you look at the list of DNFs in a course like UTMB and a lot of the major hundreds, I mean, those guys are racing. I mean, and like guys like Mike Wolf are in the front pack, like they're giving her, and the margin of error when you're at that limit is so small that you really understand that finishing is goal number one. Yeah. And then, racing is almost secondary at that point.
Totally.
Yeah.
So do you think we'll see you here in Chamonix the last weekend of August 2012?
That's definitely the plan.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I mean, watching the finishers last night and coming in and feeling that vibe in town and the vibe all week, I think it's pretty addictive. I mean, there's a reason why people come back to this race like 9-10 times.
Yeah.
Like it's huge that way.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to see you because I'll be here too.
Cheers. Excellent.
Cheers.
Yeah,
thank you.
Congrats. Yeah, take care of those legs. Yeah.